everybody. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Let's start a review for week 2, Foundations of Transportation. Just a reminder, tonight we have our Kaiser Live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can attend, please do. If not, make sure that you review the recorded format. And then I've also placed in the announcements a library tutorial video because you have an assignment to provide 3 references this week for your research for your term paper. And I would like everybody to try when they go to, in fact, let me go through this and do this right now. Let me log into the library real quick. Okay, so once you're logged into the library, hit databases, and then try to go to the LIRN, the Learn database. It wasn't working for me and I had to get IT involved. And then once you're in, click on Business, scroll down to ProQuest Central, and then you can place your searches, and there's some other resources that you might want to try as well other than ProQuest. And the way I will know if that you pulled the reference from the library is it should say retrieve from ProQuest or retrieve from JSTOR or whatever the search engine might be from the library. So we're looking at politics and railroad. It'll show you some of the articles and different magazines, things like that. You can tell if it's a scholarly article or dissertation, or if it's just a story, whatever it might be. Like this is the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel talking about railroads, and here you see the politics of railroads in the 19th century. So if you're writing on this, then this is different ways you can find information for your paper. But just make sure the Learn is working. If it's not, let me know so that we can get IT involved and get that corrected. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started for the week 2 overview. This week you should be reading chapters 5 on motor carriers, 6 on railroads, 7 on airlines, and 8 on water carriers and pipelines. So they're going to just go over the individual types of carriers that we will be discussing. And then you have your week 2 discussion for week 2. And there was some confusion on the discussion. I apologize for this, but your first post should be posted by Thursday. And since there are several different questions, like for instance, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. If you'd like, you can answer them all on one day, but you need to have at least 3 separate posts beyond that. If you want to divide it up into 2 days, I can accept that too. So if you want to do 2 questions on one day and 2 questions on the next day, that would count as 2 separate posts and 2 separate days. So however you'd like to do it. Some people like to get it done and just get it out of the way and then post more posts to fellow students. Some people will break it up so they have it on 2 separate days. It just depends on how you want to do it. I will accept both. Just make sure that you're answering all the questions. So this question, based on the 2 videos below, what did containerization affect that we discussed in week 1? How did it affect this area of logistics and supply chain? How do you feel intermodal travel affected the growth of the containerization movement? Do you think that it would have taken off as it did without intermodal travel? What other industries benefit from intermodal transportation other than manufacturing? I'll have to go back and change that. So just make sure you watch this and these 2 videos on containerization. You can also look up some articles if you like, depending, you guys are really good about going out and looking at other sources, which I really appreciate. It'll help you with your research paper too. And so those are the posts for the week for discussion. If you have any questions, please let me know. Then you also have your midterm exam. And then for the Internet Research Project, most of you have already turned in your subjects as to what you want to write about and the topics that you will be focusing on for the paper. I will respond to those. If they're a little too broad, I might want to have you bring them in, but at least I know you have an idea of what you want to do and that you've looked at it. Those of you who have not done that, please submit that as soon as possible. This is, I would say, by today or tomorrow at latest, so that I know what you want to write on and that there's ample amount of research available for you to write upon. This week, you will need to provide at least one source found through the Keiser University online library, as well as 2 additional sources that you plan on using for your paper. Submit a Word document with at least 3 properly APA formatted references that you plan to use while writing your research paper. And if you're unfamiliar with how to properly format a reference, there are some APA references or resources, in the program resources section of the class. So if you go to program resources, and then APA resources, you can see these. So these references and citations should be helpful to you if you do not know how to do it. You can also use the Keiser University online writing lab. They have questions and answers section. And then you can also go out on the internet and try to find information on how to properly. So it depends on what you're referencing. Are you referencing a book with one author? Are you referencing a book title with a colon? Are you referencing a book with no author? 2 authors? All of these show you how to properly reference your sources. So are you getting an article in an online magazine? Again, the one way I will know if you pulled it from the library is that it should say retrieved from ProQuest. It should say retrieved from so again, if I go to ProQuest, business, these are all the different sources. So if you're pulling it up for anything other than ProQuest, it would say retrieved from one of these Oxford Journals. If we had JSTOR, which we don't have JSTOR, it could say that. So again, tell me, look it up, make sure that you format it correctly, and that's how I will know if it's from the library. If you're having difficulty, again, please contact me and I will try to help you in whatever way I can. Alright, so have a good week, and as soon as I get everything graded, I will do another video to talk about some of the grading issues we have. Have a good week.